The spark for this journey began when I was a little kid. I grew up on the West Side, and my father played a game with me called Last Stop. And every weekend, we would take the subway to the last stop, and we would walk around the neighborhood for an hour or two or three or whatever. And this was a game we played. And when we ran out of last stops, we went to the second to last stop, and then to the third to last stop. And that's really how I learned to love the city. The truth of the matter is that you can really only capture a city by walking, by engaging the people, by talking to them. You drive through it, you can't do it, it's too fast. But I had never walked it before systematically. And the difference is that when you walk it systematically, you have to walk all the streets that you didn't normally walk. Like so many people, I grew up in a neighborhood. I'm sure you've had this experience where you grow up in a neighborhood and you think you know the neighborhood. I'm from Bay Ridge, I know Bay Ridge, but really when it comes right down to it, the Bay Ridge you know is where you hung out, where you went for religious services, where you went to school, where you played ball, your favorite candy store, grocery store, and then there are all these blocks that you missed. So when I walked in Washington Heights, a neighborhood we later lived in, I realized that I had walked on 164th, but never on 163rd. I'd walked on 161st, but never on 159th. And when you do it systematically, it's different. When it came to gentrification, I found a number of interesting things about gentrification. One of them was that when you walk it on the spot, when you're there, you could see the unevenness of change in gentrifying neighborhoods. It's often side by side in neighborhoods. It's not like the people are really getting together and going out to the movies together or to dinner. And you know, part of the reason is there is a cultural divide. There are different interests, different backgrounds. Some of the people are looking for authenticity when they come to gentrify. Some of them are preservationists. Some of them just want a cheap place that's close to work. Some of them want authenticity, but it turns out that often they want it in smaller doses. And the people who live there, the people who live there, they're not so happy that all these white people are coming. I had black people complain to me plenty of times. Too many whites coming to Harlem. This has got to change. The whole neighborhood is going. Some of the larger issues, one of them concerned immigration, which is the degree to which immigrants who come here not only manage to get along with each other and not only manage to cope here, but the degree to which groups that are often at odds with each other in their home countries put aside their differences. The New York City is really made up of hundreds of separate communities. Separate in the sense that they have their own clear identity. People who live in Flatbush, or people who live in alphabet cities, shall we say, here, Manhattan, or people who live in Inwood, they have distinct identities. They have a consciousness that they live somewhere, and that somewhere isn't a neighborhood. It's a place, it's a community, it's a place where they all know each other on the block, where they know each other in the building. But it's also interwoven with the idea that they live in a great 21st century metropolis. It's more an expression of the reality of New York, which is that it's incredibly complex. And it's the people that make it so complex. The people that come from all corners of the world, there's the 37.1% at the last guess, I think, that are foreign born, not to mention the children of the immigrants who were born here. This is a city that for whom immigration is the norm. It's not like people visiting a city. In many ways, they are the city. That, plus the millions of people who come from all over the United States to find their fortune here. People say, New York's a great place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live here. No, I say New York's a great place to live in, but I wouldn't want to visit here. Because then I wouldn't know what's going on.